All right, morning. It's been another week. Not a lot of action, but I do have something that I have found that I think might fix my issues I've had with the car. Got the tyres and the wheels on, bled the brakes, all good there. Fuel tank back in, did an oil change on it, and that's where I found something that was very scary. So when I cleaned, I threw my fingers up inside the engine, and I found this. I'm like, what is that? Another bit there. And I did find the other piece in the oil strainer. So at least it's out of the motor. And I worked out what it is. It's the shim for the distributor drive. So then the other thing I did this week is I had this running in it. This was just temporary while I got a condenser and points together. So I had been using this late model mechanical advanced Dizzy, which obviously isn't the ideal thing to use because for the advanced curve and so on. So I ended up getting new condenser, new set of points, and got this back together. Threw it in the car and didn't want to run. It'd start and then it would die again. Anyway, when I was poking around, I might put it back in. So basically, I was finding that the Dizzy wasn't spinning. And I'm like, what the hell? So I could turn it over by hand and it would spin a bit, and then it would get to a point where it wouldn't spin and catch again and so on. So I've worked out that basically this end here isn't dropping in far enough, and it only just grabs. So it sort of runs, but then, you hit a bump or it comes loose a little bit, or I'm thinking even with heat expansion, it's only just grabbing and then it stops and I break down. So I think that's the problem. And then when I find that shim, I'm not getting enough purchase on there to do the job. So I'm going to try and pull the drive out and see about getting another shim in there. It's supposed to have two shims. I'm going to see what's in there. I don't know how hard it's going to be to pull out because I don't have the proper tool. The other fix is potentially putting a little shim under here just to make sure it doesn't, because there's a little bit of movement in that end there. If I can take that movement out just a little bit so it's a little deeper into the slot, and I'm potentially going to take, if I can't get this drive out, I can take a little bit of meat out of this bracket here that holds it, just so that it is a little bit tighter and gets in there. So interesting development that. I'm thinking that's why she's not been running properly, is that shim that's come out of the drive. And you can imagine, it's not that thick, but it's enough for that to not get in there. And there's some weird damage going on here. And I'm assuming someone's had that apart before and they've been whacking that pin out, or has that got caught? I don't know. Anyway, it needs to be fixed and we'll see how that goes. So that's today's job. And yeah, see how we go. All right, bit of an update. There's no way that is getting out without the correct tool. So I'm just going to try and cheat it a bit. And I found a couple of things. So this didn't have a washer under it. And what I found is as that tightens down, it was lifting up a little bit. That shows a little bit more than real, but it was lifting up. And I also found the bottom of it where, as these came together, it was puckering that together and sort of making a ridge here. So I've just filed all that flat with it tightened up and taken a bit of meat out of it. Now I know that's not ideal, and I'm really just cheating the situation at the moment, but until I get the correct tool to pull that out and get another shim in there, try and make the best of what I got. The other thing I found is just here, that bit of damage, that was actually like a bit of a knock upwards, and it had like a little ridge here. So I carefully put some, plugged the hole and just filed this section flat. So the combo, salting that and this, putting a washer under there so that it all sits flatter, should get back the space that I need. So we'll see.